Welcome back to another edition of Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Saturday morning. And, we appreciate all of you tuning in. And if you're a first-time listener, we really appreciate having you here. This is the show that's designed to motivate you to take simple action steps to improve your health using totally natural, drug-free solutions. So, I really hope that this show is more than just something interesting to listen to on your Saturday morning. We hope that it's able to change your health and to change your life for the future. And we work really hard to bring you some of the latest information every single week on natural, drug-free solutions to today's worst health problems. And I'm here with my co-host, Brandon Coma. Brandon, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Doc. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got in store for today.
Well, I tell you what, I'm excited because I have something today that even you don't know about yet. So I'm super pumped about today's show. We've got some new technology in our office that it hasn't even arrived in the building yet. But this is unlike anything in Acadiana. I'm so excited to be announcing it on today's show. And it could not have come at a better time because, Brandon, summer's almost here. This is the time of year that people get interested in losing weight and getting in better shape. And we have something big coming up to help everyone out there who is interested in losing weight and they failed at that goal. And so today's going to be about why you have failed and why weight loss does not have to be that hard. It does not have to be the struggle that everyone deals with. And, we've talked about weight loss before on the show, but this new technology that we have coming in just a week or two into the office is the final piece of the puzzle that our comprehensive weight loss program needed. And so I'm going to explain all of that on the show today. And we're going to get into all of the aspects of weight loss and why it's important. But let me start by saying why you should be interested in losing weight beyond just looking better and feeling better. Because being overweight makes you more prone to literally almost every other disease on the face of the earth and every other health condition out there. You're more likely to develop cancer. You have a greater chance of getting heart disease. And you have a bigger chance of that heart disease killing you from a heart attack. If you're heavier, your risk of diabetes goes way up, and the side effects of diabetes gets worse. The amputations and the kidney dialysis and the blindness, all of the bad effects of diabetes goes up if you're overweight. And so the risk of dying an early death from almost all conditions goes way up. And, even the wear and tear on your hips and knees and feet goes way up, and you develop more arthritic disorders. So, it even affects your body if you're overweight. So there's a lot more to this than just how you look or how you feel. Now, guys, understand, 1/3 of Americans are now obese, and another 1/3 are in the overweight category. So 2/3 of Americans are either obese or overweight. And, in Louisiana, it's even higher than that. We're the second most overweight state in the country, next to Mississippi. Shreveport is the second fattest city in the country. Baton Rouge is the 9th, and Lafayette is the 13th fattest city in the entire country, according to the new statistics that just came out. And the comeback to that is that the reason that we need to talk about this is people say, oh, well, it's just because we have great food here. Well, it's really not. The French people eat much more fat and carbohydrates than we do and much more richer food, and they're some of the thinnest. And the Italians as well. The Italians eat, lots of carbohydrates and fatty foods. And in the island of Crete, they have a very fat diet, and they all live long, healthy lives, and they all have less weight problems than we do. So why is that? And we're going to get into that on the show today, and I'm going to go through why it is that Americans struggle with weight problems like they do. And it's really 4 or 5 reasons all stacked together. It's not just one thing that puts us over the edge. And then we're going to go into our comprehensive weight loss program, and we've put together 5 steps that must be addressed in order for people to finally lose weight and stay there the rest of their lives. Now, we've always had these 4, but we have one missing link now, that this new piece of technology that fills that void. And I'm going to get into that on the show today and talk about what that new technology is. And let me just real quickly run down the 5 things that absolutely must be addressed for you to lose weight and regain your health. And then later in the show, we're going to break each one of these things down and talk about them individually in a lot more detail. But I first wanted to go through the 5 things. And so remember these 5 things. These are the 5 things that must be addressed as part of any comprehensive weight loss program. And the first one, of course, is this energy deficit problem, and that I've mentioned on the show before. And most people that we check today are running on an energy deficit in their body. And when I say energy, I don't mean it like this metaphysical kind of, hippie energy kind of thing. Your body makes an energy packet called ATP, which stands for adenine triphosphate. That's what fuels your body, just like gasoline fuels your car. So ATP is to your body what a gallon of gas is to your vehicle. And we find in today's world, most patients that we look at are burning through their ATP or energy faster than they can make them. So they're running on this constant energy deficit. And when you don't have enough energy in your body to run your metabolism, you will not lose weight. It doesn't matter what you do. You just cannot lose weight if you're low on energy. And you're going to feel also ran down and tired all the time. And so that's number 1 that must be addressed with weight loss, is this energy deficit problem. Now, number 2 on the list is hypertoxicity of the liver. Now, what does that mean? Well, the truth is, guys, that we live in the most toxic world we ever have. We're bombarded by chemicals, pesticides, food impurities, preservatives, household chemicals, heavy metals, chlorine and fluoride, and, drug residues. More of that stuff than we ever have been in our history. And I've gone through this before on the show as well, but we live in the most toxic world we ever have. And when your liver gets full of toxins, when it gets overloaded, it has to spill some back out in the body. And it has now been proven that your body will build extra fat cells, especially the belly fat, to store those toxic impurities in. So dealing with a toxic liver has to be part of any comprehensive wellness program. And, this now gets called fatty liver in the medical community. They're starting to tell patients more and more that, well, you have a fatty liver. Now, they don't explain what that means, but they're telling patients that now. And that's because a toxic or fatty liver is from too many chemical impurities in the diet, and that is something that absolutely must be addressed as part of any comprehensive weight loss program. Because if you have too much toxic buildup in your body and you do lose 10 or 15 pounds, because your body was using those fat cells to store toxins in, it's going to do everything it can to gain that weight back plus 10 pounds. So you get this yo-yo dieting that everybody goes through. Now, number 3 on the list is stress and hormonal imbalances. Guys, if you're stressed out or your hormones are out of balance, you're not going to lose weight. I don't care what else that you do. Stress causes an overproduction of a hormone called cortisol. Now, cortisol is a fat-storing hormone in our bodies. And we have a way in our office that we can rebuild your stress glands and correct that cortisol balance. And I'm going to talk about that in great detail a little bit later in the show. We're going to break each one of these items down. But along with cortisol production, along that same lines is hormonal imbalances. We have to take a look at your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and all your other sex hormones because that will cause weight gain when not properly addressed. So we have energy deficit that has to be looked at. We have the stress hormones of the body, which is cortisol, which signals fat storage. We have to look at the toxins in the liver, which that signals fat storage in the body. And we have to look at all your sex hormones like your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone because that signals fat in the body. We have to look at all of this or we're never going to be able to figure out why your body is not losing weight. And then, the next thing we have to look at on the list, number 4, is actually what you put in your body. Nutrition, diet, and activity. And you notice how I didn't even put that first? Most of the time, what I see is patients are gaining weight not because of what they eat. Because most overweight people don't eat that much more than anything else. I probably eat more food every day than all of the weight loss patients that I've ever seen. I mean, I eat tons of food every day to feed my metabolism. And so I probably eat more than all of my weight loss clients that I talk to. But it's what you eat and when you eat it and the timing of all of that is the secret here. So we have to address all of the underlying reasons first. And that's step 1, 2, and 3 that I just mentioned. And then we start to look at what you put inside your body. And we have to make sure on this before we try to figure out how many calories or macronutrients you have. The first thing that we have to determine is that you're not eating foods that are causing inflammation and weight gain in the body. And everybody's a little bit different here. We have a lab that we can test your body for 96 different food items to see if one of those foods is intolerant in your body or that your body doesn't agree with that food, creating inflammation and weight gain. And it's going to be different for everybody. So someone else is going to have a different food panel than what you do. And we can develop a custom nutritional plan based on foods that your body agrees with. And so if your body has an intolerance to, say, corn, and every time you eat corn, your body is going to create inflammation and weight gain. The next person, it might be something else. It might be dairy or it might be wheat. Who knows? And so we have to test all of that out and create a custom food panel for your exact body type. And then we look at what foods that you're eating based on macronutrients, not calories. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more in detail on the show later, but whenever we look at the food, we measure macronutrients and not calories because calories aren't a very good determinant of how your body is processing the food. And then number 5 on my list is my big announcement today. And this is after you've done all of these other steps and you have those stubborn areas of your body that won't metabolize fat. And for in men, it might be the love handles or the chin. And in women, it might be, the hips or the thighs. And those trouble spots that no matter what you do, you just can't get rid of. And we have a new technology called Invisared. Now, Invisared uses dual coherent wavelengths of red and infrared light that are absorbed into the subcutaneous tissues, which is the fat underneath the skin. And it creates a localized blood flow to stimulate cellular respiration and ATP synthesis in that area. And so this is targeted fat loss. And this new technology is remarkably effective at treating these problem areas. It also works with like cellulite and stretch marks and loose skin, but it's particularly effective at removing fat from these unwanted problem areas that no matter what else you do, you just can't get rid of it. And we now have the ability at Bryant Wellness to target those difficult spots in the body that you want to contour. And using this, all natural technology. And we're going to get into more on this technology after this break, how this works and And we'll get into all the details of this a little bit later in the show, so don't miss it. And I also wanted to let you know that we're going to be doing a demo day in my office to demonstrate this comprehensive weight loss program. Now, many times patients can lose up to an inch in their stomach or in these other problem areas in just a few treatments with this Invisared. So it's a pretty amazing technology. This stuff doesn't take forever. So if you're interested in a weight loss program that addresses all aspects of why you can't lose weight, we're going to cover this five-step weight loss in our demo day. And so all you have to do if you're interested in that is give my office a call at 837-7174. It's probably going to be the first week of June, so we're about a week and a half, 2 weeks away. We're taking names starting today for anyone that wants to come see this Invisared technology and talk to me about their problems to see if, we can figure out how to help them lose weight once and for all. You can call my office at 837-7174. That's 837-7174, and I'll give you a call back Monday, and we'll get you some more information on our demo day and give you dates and times and all that. So the number is 837-7174 to get more information on our demo day. Now, we're going to discuss more on this new technology, and we're going to break each one of these steps of our comprehensive weight loss program down right after this break, so don't go away. Welcome back to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. Thank you again for joining us, and we're discussing the battle of the bulge today on the show. And this is so important for us right here in the Acadiana area because, guys, this is a huge problem for us. And this is not just important for how we look, guys. This is our health. This is what's going to keep us from dying an early death of almost all diseases. And it's the most important thing that you could do because this is your health. And it's more important than the house payment or the car payment. It's more important than, taking the kids everywhere. This is because without your health, you can't do any of those other things. You can't bring the kids to baseball or make the house payment if you lose your health. And so I want to encourage all of you to stop putting this stuff off. Once you lose your health and it gets out of control, it can be so much harder to put it back into place. And I talk to so many patients who have this opinion of, well, I'm overweight, but my blood pressure's okay. So, I'm on medicine for that, so I'm good. Or they'll say, well, yeah, I'm a little overweight, but I'm on my cholesterol medicine now, so I've got it under control. Or, yeah, I'm overweight, but, my blood sugar numbers have been looking pretty good, so I got this. I don't need to do anything else. If you take a look at the literature, it just doesn't show that. Being overweight, even by 20 pounds, increases your chance of dying from almost every other disease process. And so in the first segment, I introduced you to this comprehensive weight loss program where we look at all aspects that need to be dealt with when you're discussing weight loss with a patient. And most people think that weight loss is mainly caused from what they eat. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case. The main problem with weight loss is not always what you eat. It's a factor, of course, but the biggest factor are things that you have going on inside your body that are signaling fat storage that we talked about before the break, like too much stress and too many environmental toxins in your liver and too much hormonal imbalance. All of those things that we talked about and low energy. So let's break each one of these things down. And I wanted to start today by talking about being under too much stress. When you're under excess stress, your body produces a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol is a fat storing or fat signaling hormone in the body. So your stress glands in your body is your adrenal system. Your adrenal glands are your stress glands of your body. And we have a whole protocol in our office for dealing with balancing your adrenal system so that your stress no longer causes that cortisol production. Because you can't change the stress. We live in a stressful environment, right? I mean, the traffic's not getting any better. The bills aren't going away. The boss isn't getting any nicer. The kids aren't behaving any better. Life is stressful. So we can't change that. And that's one of the problems. You go to your doctor and he says, well, your blood pressure's too high. You need to lower your stress level. Well, how do we do that? You can't. But what we can do is we can change your body's inability to respond to that stressful event by not producing so much cortisol and being so weak to those stressful events. So we strengthen your system so that stress doesn't physically affect you. That's basically the way this works. That's really the big secret whenever it comes to managing stress. And by the way, people that have this stress problem are 4 to 5 times more likely to have a heart attack. And their chances of being overweight, if you have stress, go up significantly because this constant stress causes your adrenal system to overproduce cortisol, and that signals fat storage. So if we test you and your adrenal system is burnt out, or you have this what we call adrenal fatigue, we know that this needs to be one of the factors of our comprehensive weight loss program. And if we don't do that, your chances of success go way down. Now, how do we know? Well, we have a real simple test that we do called Ragland's test that we can determine if you have this adrenal burnout or this adrenal fatigue. And we simply take your blood pressure sitting and standing, and when you stand up, your blood pressure should go up 5 points. That's a healthy response. That's what we want to see. Now, if it doesn't do that, that means that your adrenal system is so shot, your adrenal glands are so burnt out that it can't even deal with what it's supposed to do when you go from sitting to standing. And if that's the case, how do you think it's going to properly deal with all of the other stressful events that you have going on every single day in your life? It's not. And so if your system can't even deal with you standing up out of a chair, that goes to show you how burnout it is to deal with all of your hormonal and cortisol balances that it deals with every single day. And there's an exact way that you have to do this, but we can do your blood pressure sitting and standing, and we can take a look at the change there. And if it doesn't change or it goes down, that's important. And we see that it can be completely out of balance, and that's going to produce way too much cortisol and make it impossible for you to lose weight. So part of our comprehensive weight loss program is to balance and strengthen your adrenal system using a very simple little natural supplement. You chew it up, it goes right under your tongue. And what it does, since you can't change the stress, it rebuilds the stress glands of the body. So the stress will still be there, but you physically just won't go into that overproduction of cortisol through this stress response in the body. So I can't make the stress go away, but I can make your body's response to that stress much healthier, which lowers your cortisol level, which stops the signaling of fat storage in the body. And that's one of our 5 steps to our comprehensive weight loss program, but it has to be a part of it. If you're trying to lose weight and you have this adrenal burnout from too much stress, unfortunately, it's just not going to happen for you. Now, the second big thing that I see that keeps people from losing weight is this buildup of toxic impurities in the liver. Now, in the medical realm, that's called fatty liver. And they've coined that term several years ago when they were seeing patients that their livers were completely shot, but that were not alcoholics. So basically, this quote unquote fatty liver, they've been telling everybody that they have, it basically is a form of like cirrhosis of the liver in somebody that's not alcoholic. So that basically means that you have so many chemical residues from pesticides and cleaners and industrial chemicals and medications and too much aspirin and Tylenol and Advil and all that stuff has built up in your body, and it has damaged your liver. And your liver has become so overloaded that it has to spill some of those toxins out, and it's decided to build extra fat cells around your belly to store some of those toxic pollutants in. So toxins equals fat storage equals, and that's that sort of, especially that belly fat. So I'm going to get more into this fatty liver a little bit more right after this next break. But if you're interested in coming to our demo day for our comprehensive weight loss program, I want you to call my office and leave your name and number on the machine at 837-7174, and we'll call you back on Monday. By the way, please be by your phone Monday if you call so we don't have to play phone tag. So the number's 837-7174. That's 837-7174. Our demo day is going to be the first week or two in June. We're going to invite everybody to come in to go through this comprehensive weight loss program. I'll show you how it all works, and you can decide if it's something right for you. So more secrets to you losing weight right after this break. Welcome back to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. Today on the show, we're discussing one of the biggest issues plaguing Acadiana. Guys, we're seeing younger and younger children with weight problems. And before we get started on this next segment, I got to stop and talk to you guys for just a second, because if you're a parent out there or a grandparent and you have a child or a grandchild that's having weight problems, I want you to please bring them in and sit down with me and see if we can get this turned around now. Now, guys, as parents and grandparents, sometimes we want to kind of see our kids as perfect and we want to see them as not having any issues. Guys, if your children and grandchildren, or if you have children or grandchildren that are overweight, this affects their self-esteem. They probably get teased by other children. And worse than that, it's setting them up for an early death and a life of chronic disease. So let's please address that now. And guys, listen, those that are regular listeners out to the show know that working with kids is something that's very dear to my heart. So I want to plead with all of you parents and grandparents out there, the children that are struggling with weight problems. Guys, I can talk to them in a way that's not going to embarrass the kids. And where they can understand how these programs work and why it's so important. And I can show them simple little things they can do to turn this around now before it's too late. And you know, the truth is, what I see most of the time when I get these kids in the room and start talking to them real gently about it, they all want help. They know they're overweight. They've probably heard it from their friends, and they've probably been teased more times than not. And they don't want to be that way. They just don't know how to change it. I have a children's weight loss program that is unlike anything else out there. I have recipes for kids. I have simple little things they can do themselves that can teach them how to turn this thing around. And so I just wanted to stop and plead with you guys out there for 1 second about the kids. And, you know, I love working with kids, and it breaks my heart when I see these kids that are so overweight, because I know what their life is going to be down the road if we don't turn this thing around now. And so just know, guys, that I've been overweight my entire life. I was the fat kid in school, so I know how it is. 7 years ago, when I had when my son was born, I was obese. I had a ton of health problems. I was almost 240 pounds, and I had a size 40 waist. Now I've lost 73 pounds, and my waist has gone from a 40 or a 42 down to a 30. And 2 years ago, I won Masters Physique Champion on stage right here in Lafayette at 45 years old. You're not doomed to your genetics. And the truth is, there's real world simple things causing you to be overweight. It's just no one has taken the time to sit down with you and figure out what that is. And usually it's not what you're eating. It's usually something else inside your body, and usually multiple of things signaling fat storage. So if you're trying to lose weight and you got 2 or 3 things that's signaling every day to store fat in your body, man, that's frustrating. And I understand that, and I've been there. This is what I do. And so I want you guys to know, for people right here in Acadiana, I do this every day to try to help people get on the right track. And I want to help as many people as possible out there as I can continue down the road of health and not get stuck on this road of obesity and disease and loss of health. Now, right before that last break, we were talking about how toxic buildup in the body stores fat or signals fat storage. And the truth is, guys, we live in a very toxic area of the country right here in Acadiana. If you look at all the literature on this, and if you look at the graphs of the most toxic places in the country, it runs right through the middle of Louisiana. And that's because everything that's sprayed, really from, all the way up north, Ohio, Oklahoma, all of that stuff runs through North Louisiana and down here. We're kind of at the bottom of the waterways. And so, unfortunate fact of the matter is that we just have tons of toxic buildup right here in our area. We find that people in this area, their bodies are loaded with chemicals, toxins, and impurities. And our body's response to all those impurities is to signal fat storage in the body. Now, if we stick our head in the sand and pretend like this is not an issue, we're not going to lose weight or get healthy. So getting all of these impurities out of the body is very important. And I've seen patients lose up to 15 pounds by doing nothing else but just flushing impurities out of their body. So this patient had 15 pounds of fat on their body just because it was storing toxins. So, the traditional medical talking points on this as well, the body has its own ability to get rid of toxins, so we don't need to flush them out. Yeah, it does. But let me tell you, that system is overwhelmed, and it's been overwhelmed. And I don't mean a little bit overwhelmed. I mean, it's severely overwhelmed and it needs some help. So we have the most gentle but most effective way to rid all of these impurities out of your liver and out of the body. And the result of that is fat loss. And so we look at this diagnosis of this fatty liver or toxic liver as being one of our action steps that we need to take to get the body to finally accept weight loss. And then, guys, lastly, as we have to look at what you put in the body. And so in the first segment, the first thing that we have to know is, are you eating foods that your particular body type does not respond well to? Now, the only way to know this is to test you to see. Because the problem is, it can take 2 or 3 days of these foods that you're eating to negatively respond in your body. So you may have ate something Monday and you may feel terrible on Thursday, and you're never going to be able to put those 2 points together. Now, we can test you for 96 different food items, and we're going to get a graph back that shows how your body is reactive negatively or positively to these particular foods. And we get 3s, 2s, 1s, and 0s. The 0s, you're not reactive at all, and you can eat as much as you want and in the amounts that you want. The 3s, your body reacts severely negative to, and the 2s moderate, and the 1s mild. So we can build a nutritional plan based on the foods that your body accepts and likes and does positive things in your body, not negative things in your body. And then we build a nutritional plan based on those foods using macronutrients, not calories. Now, you guys have heard me say that on the show before about counting calories is not a very effective way at determining how the foods you're eating affect your body or build fat cells in the body. And the calorie example that I always use is, 1 piece of chocolate cake is 500 calories and 3 chicken breasts are 500 calories. And if I'm a calorie counter, those 2 plates are exactly the same thing. Now, is my body going to do the same thing with a piece of chocolate cake as it is with 3 chicken breasts? They're both 500 calories. If I'm a calorie counter, those 2 plates are exactly the same thing. So I can pick the cake over the chicken breast and it's the same thing. Unfortunately, guys, that is not the way it works. My body is not going to do the same thing with a piece of chocolate cake as it does with 3 chicken breasts. So do you see why counting calories is skewed? it's off. There's a much better way, and that is counting macronutrients, which means how many proteins, carbohydrates, and fats you're taking in. And I can promise you with my nutritional plan, you will not be eating like a rabbit. You'll be eating several meals of good quality, healthy fats and proteins and common sense carbohydrates. You don't have to starve yourself. And that's actually one of the worst things you can do for weight loss, because that's going to mess up your metabolism and that's going to lead to yo-yo dieting and rebound weight gain. Now, right after this break, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this amazing new technology called Invisared. And we can now target difficult spots on your body using this new Invisared technology. It's great for cellulite and loose skin and stretch marks, and it's especially effective at targeted weight loss. What I mean by that is that difficult area that even after you've done everything else, you just are kind of slow to lose weight in there. You know, like either the stomach or the love handles or the chin or the hips and thighs, those difficult areas that you really want to target. This Invisared does exactly that, and it does it drug-free and pain-free. And I'm going to explain to you how that works right after this next break. But if you're interested in hearing more about our demo day, we're going to launch this new 5-step comprehensive weight loss program. You can call my office at 837-7174 and leave your name and number on my machine. That's 837-7174, and we'll call you Monday. We'll give you more information about it. Please be by your phone Monday for us to call. Stay tuned. We're going to learn more about this Invisared right after this next break. Welcome back to Get Well Acadiana. Thank you so much for joining us on today's very important show, especially for us right here in Acadiana with all of the weight and health problems that we deal with. I hope today's show has been able to motivate all of you out there to finally make a change and do something that makes sense for once whenever it comes to helping you lose weight and getting healthy. And what I wanted you guys to really get today is that weight loss is a lot more than what you put in your mouth. And in fact, food is not even the biggest factor that I find whenever it comes to helping someone lose weight. Of course, it is a factor, but it's not the biggest factor. The biggest factor is that there are things that are going wrong in your body that are signaling fat storage, and those have to be addressed as part of any comprehensive weight loss program. So many of you out there may have been struggling for years to lose weight by doing just 1/5 of the program. You're just trying to change your food to lose weight. And you've got 4 other things dragging you down that someone needs to sit down and address. And so that's what this program does. And that's why, guys, that so many of you out there have been struggling with this yo-yo dieting, losing 10, gaining 15, giving up and starting over. Let's finally put an end to all of that. And while we're doing that, we can now use this Invisared technology to target the biggest trouble spots that you have in your body to jumpstart those areas that bother you the most, whether it be a loose skin or stretch marks or cellulite or those love handles or hips or, that chin. Whatever areas bother you the worst, we can now target those areas while we're working on a larger plan for the long term. So we can fix it short term and while we're working on the long term. And, we've taken a truly individualized approach to combining multiple successful components into a real long-term solution. Our clients can safely lose 2 to 3 to 4 pounds of fat per week. And in our programs, each one of them is individualized and based on each patient's needs. And, we can help almost anyone lose weight safely and permanently, regardless of their lifestyle or their budget or their medical conditions. There is hope out there for you. Now, the way that this Invisared works is it uses low-level laser energy, and basically what it does is it supercharges your body's natural metabolism to stimulate fat cells to open, and that releases that intracellular fat water, and toxins into the lymphatic system. And then the lymphatic system transports it out of the body. That's what the lymph system does. And that way it creates the body's natural metabolic functions to stimulate fat cell burning for specific areas. Now, once those fat cells are released, the fat cell becomes smaller and tighter and more unnoticeable. And we can now use Invisared for weight loss and body contouring. We can even use it for stretch mark fading and cellulite elimination. It works great on cellulite. And that's what makes this Invisared such a special thing, is its ability to penetrate deeper into the tissues. You know, there's been laser machines out this before, but they only penetrated about 10 millimeters underneath the skin. That's 1 centimeter. That's not very far. That's very surface fat. This new technology, Invisared, can penetrate up to 40 millimeters down into the body, so we can get those deeper fat cells than what we ever have been able to before. And so I'm so excited to be launching this right here on the show for the first time on Get Well Acadiana. And the last thing that I wanted to say to all of you today is that you can do this. Weight loss does not have to be this hard, guys. You've been struggling for years with weight problems, being embarrassed and, getting bigger and baggier clothes and, and not wanting to take pictures or go to pool parties. I mean, I get it. I've been there. And I can show you how to turn it all around once and for all. So I hope you'll take that journey with me. If you want to know more about our weight loss demo day at my office, you can call the number 837-7174. That's 837-7174. Just leave your name and number on the machine and be by your phone Monday. We're going to give you a call back. It's going to be the first part of June. That number's 837-7174. I'm out of time today, guys. Thank you for joining me. We can do this, guys. We can do this. Have a good weekend.